You're on your phone, Amy?
No, it's a computer. Ever since I did that duo thing, I had to reinstall Windows and now everything's all, I can't get onto a Zoom app. And then when I click launch Zoom, nothing happens. It just sits there.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the planning board meeting for June 4th, 2024. My name is Carrie Marnick, Chair of the Planning Board. Before we get started, I have a few announcements to read. This open meeting of the planning board is being conducted remotely pursuant to the Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law March 29, 2023. All members of the planning board are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The act allows the planning board to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. Confirming board members are anticipated on the agenda are remotely present and can be heard by stating the following. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Bill Pierce?
Here.
Millie Milton?
Here.
Amy Pretsky?
Here.
Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Lori Connors?
Here.
Great. Okay, ground rules for the meeting. There are no presenters or applicants on the agenda tonight. Public comments are not happening tonight, nor do we have executive session. So with that, why don't we get started with the agenda? We originally had planned for an executive session this evening that did not take place. So before we get going to the next part of the agenda, I wanted to just query the board on the ability to do executive session on June 18th and whether or not we wanted to do that at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. Any thoughts on June 18th executive session?
5 o'clock is fine with me.
Want to go for 5? Bill, does that work for you?
5:30.
Yeah, that's fine.
Amy?
Yeah.
Okay, so Lori, 5 o'clock seemed to be okay for Attorney Eichmann, so we could do executive session. And this is pursuant to MGL Chapter 38, Section 21, Subsection 3 litigation for the pending land use litigation for the Gutierrez Company versus Northborough Planning Board, land court number 21 MISC 000380. If we move that to June 18th at 5 p.m. And that's not a hearing, so I assume we don't have to call a vote for that.
No.
Okay, great. Okay, so we will plan to cover that then. Next on the agenda, we had the continued public hearing for consideration of the application for site plan approval submitted by the town of Northborough for construction of a new 30,000 square foot plus or minus fire station and associated improvements at the property located at 61 and 65 West Main Street, map 63, parcels 9 and 10. And 10 Monroe Street, map 63, parcel 7 in the downtown business district and groundwater protection overlay district. The applicant has requested that we continue the hearing without testimony to June 18th at 6 p.m. As such, is there a motion to continue the hearing to June 18th at 6 p.m.?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, Bill?
Aye.
Millie?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Carries an aye, so we will plan on that. Tonight, I don't think we have any A&Rs, lot releases, or bonds, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the only old business that we have this evening is to go approve the minutes from April. Wait a minute. Yep, April 2nd, April 16th, and May 7th. So why don't we start with the second? Now for these minutes, I did not have changes tracked. So it doesn't look to me that there are amendments made to the April 2nd minutes. Is that correct? Or they just weren't tracked?
They should be in red.
Yeah, just the ones that Amy had made, I think.
Okay, maybe it's just like on my side, it's not, it just doesn't look tracked, but that's fine. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from April 2nd as amended?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, I'll give that one to Amy on the second. All in favor, Bill?
Aye.
Millie?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
And carries an aye. Okay, the 14th, I do believe were amended. Are there any additional amendments to the minutes?
You mean the
16th, I believe.
The 16th, April 16th.
So I actually have a question on these, Lori. If I had to recuse myself from a section of this, can I still vote to approve the minutes?
Yeah, because you don't actually have to be even present to approve the minutes, so
Okay.
I don't think that's a problem, but just remember that at the next meeting, you should also recuse yourself.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Oh, interesting. So when I don't attend a meeting, I abstain from voting on the minutes, but you could actually vote on the minutes if you weren't there?
You can, as long as there's a majority of the people, enough people to vote. So,
I see.
especially if you watch the meeting on, you weren't attending, but you watched the meeting on the video,
Mm-hmm.
then
Yeah.
you can still attest to what happened.
Oh,
Yeah, because I
okay.
think there's a difference between if you recuse yourself for a conflict of interest and you aren't there, which is different. So I didn't know because I recused myself for conflict of potential, if I can vote on the minutes that include comments.
It sounds like that's fine. Okay. All right. If there aren't any additional amendments, is there a motion to approve the minutes as amended for April 16th, 2024?
So moved.
Second,
Second,
we'll give that one to Bill. All in favor, Bill,
aye.
Billy,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
and carries an aye. Okay, and then finally, we have the May 7th minutes. Again, I don't have red markings. Was May 7th also amended?
I don't see any changes in the May 7th minutes, except for the deletion of the information on COVID at the beginning.
Okay.
And I left like the first sentence and the last sentence, just not all the writing in the middle. I noticed the selectmen and like the historical, it just says the meeting was remote. Like it doesn't, sometimes now I feel like our minutes are so short that the COVID blurb is like half a page of minutes and there's nothing else. And I looked at a couple others, so I'm like, well, why don't we just use, it says that this meeting is remote and that all the rules were read out loud.
Okay, so in this particular case, then there were amendments. It happened to be in the COVID section, but either way, there are amendments to this set of minutes.
Correct.
Okay, great. So any other amendments for these minutes? Okay, is there a motion to accept the minutes from May 7th as amended?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Second,
and Millie can have that one. All in favor, Bill,
aye.
Millie,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
and carries an aye. Okay, so that should round out all of the minutes that we had on the agenda tonight. Otherwise, we had, this just must be a holdover. Discuss planning board meeting schedule. Looks like a holdover from last time. We already discussed that. ZBA is a tentative meeting, looks like. Is that just dependent on applications coming through?
Yeah, we so far don't have anything on the agenda, so it most likely will be canceled.
Okay, and MPIC is June 20th. Now, also a holdover is election of officers, but one thing we should put on the agenda for next time are the committees.
Yes, so you want to hold off on that until June 18th? Because we'll just
Well,
put
it
it on
doesn't
the.
matter to me, it's not on the agenda. I mean, and Anthony's not here, but I guess that leaves him with, we get to leave him with whatever we leave him with. Board members, do you want us to talk about it tonight or figure it out or wait till next time around? Any thoughts? And does it matter if it's not on the agenda?
Well, we just lumped it in together. So election of officers and committee appointments, but if you feel more comfortable putting it as expressly committee appointments on the next agenda, then certainly I can do that.
I think the board members, do you have a preference? I don't feel super strongly about it.
I mean,
I think we should wait for Anthony.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I do think it's kind of two different things, but
Okay, I'll change the description for the next meeting.
Okay, I know as we just said, we weren't gonna really talk about, does anyone have like any initial thoughts, like for me, just so everybody knows, like I would be happy if someone else wants to try CMRPC or do something like that, so. We don't have to solve it here, but just, that's something that if anyone's interested, think about it, or feel free to reach out and. If I can help with any information about it, but it's an interesting, it's just hard for me with traveling so much to make it to the meetings, and I think someone else could benefit more so than I've been able to last year, so.
On the CMRPC?
Yeah. So, and the annual meeting's coming up too, so it'd be a good time to, if that one's actually in person, it's in Wachusett. I think it's. I think we all get the information. Does everybody get the details when CMRPC? Okay, so you guys have seen it.
Mhm.
Too. So that meeting's also in person. And I think anyone's really welcome from the board to go to that if you want. So.
Mm.
Okay. Then. Let's see, I think that's it. If there's no other business before the board tonight, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, Bill?
Aye.
Millie?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
And Carrie's an aye. Meeting adjourned.
This feels
Right.
weird. Doesn't
16
sometimes-
minutes, woohoo.
I
Yeah,
know.
I know. It feels weird.
All right. Well, enjoy the night.
Stay here
Enjoy
for
the
a while,
sunshine.
okay?
Good night.